Our contractors primarily work in commercial, industrial, heavy highway sectors of the construction market. While some of our contractors may do some home building, most of our contractors do not. So we're kind of more on the commercial and industrial end of things. So part of what we do is workforce development. So that's what we're doing today to bring you this this presentation. This is part of our workforce development initiatives. And just so you know, we have a chat feature on this Zoom link. So if you want to ask questions, please just click on the chat button and ask your question directly in the chat feature. And I will be monitoring that throughout my my interview today. And just real quick before I introduced our guests, I just want to thank the Northwest Indiana Workforce Board and the Center of Workforce Innovations. Without their help, none of this would be possible. So thanks to them. And you should see our opening screen on your Zoom call in your classroom. And as you can see, our interview today is going to be with the Bricklayers. The Bricklayers, at least the local one, is out of Maryville, but the Bricklayers are nationwide. And today joining us, we have Roger Jones, and he's the managing director of the Bricklayer Apprenticeship Program. And he covers statewide in the state of Indiana. So, hey, Roger, welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. Glad to be here.
I appreciate you coming on and joining us. So you ready to get on the hot seat here?
Yeah, let's go. Get started.
All right. Well, just before I kind of get into the questions, I'd like to know a little bit about your background and how you got into the Bricklayers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. My father was a bricklayer, and I've always been around the trade, and so is my brother. He's in Bricklayers. You know, I was in high school. I would always go by his jobs they'd work on, and I was just amazed, you know, of the craftsmanship and, you know, the skills they had to build a building. And these guys were not only, you know, they worked together, they were buddies after work. I mean, a lot of these guys came was in our homes, and, you know, it just inspired me of the camaraderie they had with each other. And man, the skill level, like, you know, I've seen things come out of the ground, and then, you know, the post office there in Vincennes where I live, every time I see that, my father passed away a few years, I always think about him is, you know, here he's passed away 3 years ago, but that building still stands. And, you know, just great pride, you know, they take in what they've done.
You know, that's come up in quite a few conversations, is just the pride of craftsmanship that exists in the trades in general. I don't think people realize how satisfying construction careers are. I mean, you're actually taking something that's put on paper and with your hands, you're just building it from the ground up. And there really is a sense of satisfaction about that. But and it's like no job I've ever worked at. I mean, I remember I used to work for Superior Construction, and the first bridge job that I was on, every time I go over that road and across that bridge, you know, you think back on how you had a part of that, you know. So
yes.
So yeah, it's something that you know, can't be stressed enough that you know, construction is one of the most satisfying careers out there, and in studies after study and shows that. So so let's talk a little bit about the Bricklayers then. So when you hear the word Bricklayers, you think of bricks, but you guys do a lot more than bricks. I went out to a job and I was talking to a craftsman, and he was laying big stones and
yep.
You know, on the face of a building, and he was a bricklayer. So can you talk a little bit about what a bricklayer does? I know it's a lot more than bricks.
Yeah, I mean, like you know, there's three different things really in our craft we do. Like you said, the bricklaying, we do mostly like brick, block, stone, glass block. There's so many different things, you know, we do. On the PCC side, which is called a pointer cleaner caulker, that's someone that actually is goes in and restores an old building. We'll cut the old mortar out, put new mortar in, you know, cut out the expansion joints, put new caulking in it. So we got also the refactory side, which is really big up here in the Maryville area, where we have apprentices and also journeymen. You know, they work on The mills here, they're doing ovens and different stuff like that in the trade. So there's a lot more to it when you hear a bricklayer. There's so many different more avenues, that actually a bricklayer does. It's just with the PCCs, they go into these older buildings and you see these people restore these buildings are like 100 years old, and there's what we call terracotta maybe on those. They actually can go in and patch that and look like the original thing when it's done. So it's there's a lot of different, like you got the bricklaying side, you got the PCC, which is a corner cleaner caulker, kind of more like the restoration work, then on the refractory side.
Yeah, just to go with what you're saying, I know in downtown Valpo a couple years ago there was an old building, and there were some bricklayers that tuck pointed that, and you couldn't tell. I mean, it looked like the building was brand new when they were finished. So it was amazing the work that they did.
Yeah, and they've got the technology, that they can make that mortar look like it did 100 years ago.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. And then I'm glad you brought up the industrial, because I think that's probably what employs probably more than half the bricklayers here in Northwest.
Yes, there is. And there's a lot of overtime on that. Usually you're on the refractory side. You're working 6-7 days a week, maybe 12, 14 hours a day. So
yeah, it's just amazing if you've ever been inside the blast furnace and see the work that they do. I mean, it's just lined with basically a refractory insulating brick that prevents the molten metals from burning out of the furnace. And those blast furnaces last a long time, but I know they need to be rebuilt like every 5 years or so. But just amazing work, and if you've never seen it, it's something to be seen, because it is just, it's out of this world, really. But so now that we know what kind of the bricklayers do, how about we talk a little bit about your apprenticeship program? Can you talk a little bit about how your program is designed, how it's structured? How many years would somebody have to go through the apprenticeship program to come out the other end as a journey person?
Yeah, our apprenticeship program is 4 years, and it's a total of 6,000 hours. That's class hours and work hours. The way ours is structured is our apprentices are just getting ready to finish up their winter session. We have apprentices come in. They come to class from November to March. They'll come 1 day a week. Our first years come on Monday, second years come on Tuesday, then our third years come on Wednesday. When they're not in class, they're working on the job site for the contractor. Also, our apprentices, they just take apprentice classes with us. We're associated with, like the other trades, with Ivy Tech, where they actually can go there free. We pay for that. And once they complete that, they will have a degree of associate's degree in applied science. And I believe it's 60 or 61 total credit college hours they receive free from our program.
Yeah, I think there's 9 other trades that offer that, and you might not know this, right? And maybe a lot of people in our audience don't know this, but the local Purdue up here, which is Purdue Northwest, they have and this just happened last August, did an articulation agreement with Ivy Tech. So now they created a special program called, it's a bachelor's in project leadership, where you could take those Ivy Tech degrees and transfer them straight toward a bachelor's degree in this special field. What they did is they put it under their organizational leadership and supervision program, and took some of the construction management courses out of that program and combined it into a special offering just for tradespeople. So that is something that the tradespeople can get involved with after they complete their apprenticeship program. So I'm glad you brought that up. So when do you said it's a 4-year program, did you say?
It's a 4-year program.
And it's 1,500 hours.
It's each, 1,500 hours.
Advance?
Yeah, that's class hours and work hours. And we do pay these young apprentices, they do get paid to come to class. So yeah, it works out really, really well with them.
So and that's just November through March?
Yeah, because we restructure it, because back years ago, I used to be an instructor in the Southern Indiana part. And instructor had 2 different chapters. We went from August to May. then what we done, we kind of consolidated schools, and it's really helped that way. Most, if it's the winter months, sometimes we are, susceptible to weather. So we kind of made it better for the apprentice. Instead of stretching it out so long, we kind of condensed it. Working with the contractor, we figured from November to March would be a better time frame. Then once they get out of class, they got pretty much all spring and summer and fall where they're out making money.
So is it just 1 day a week that they're going to school?
They go 1 day a week for 8. They go over a period of 8. They have to come to 18 classes. They have to have a total of 144 class hours each year.
And do you group like first years with other first years and then second years? So
like today, yes, I'm sitting here today, and Tuesdays is the second year, and Wednesday's the third, and Monday's first year. So everybody that's comes the same day is in the same year.
And then as you're going through the program, I take it as you progress, your pay increases as well. And we'll kind of get into pay.
Yes, yeah, I can explain that when you're ready. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now, how would you apply for the Bricklayers?
We've got of course, our website. Yes, it's on here. They can go to that bacforcetraining.com.
Okay.
We take applications daily. We've got it where they can actually go to our website and they can submit that application. It'll come right to the bacforceapprenticeship@gmail.com, which is our email address. That comes right to us. And then what we do once we get that, I will forward it to the instructor, or where they want to. Because we got 6 different training centers. We got 5 in Indiana and 1 in Louisville, Kentucky. So once that application is submitted and completed, we'll forward that to the instructor from where they're from. Then the instructor will get in contact with them.
Okay, so I went ahead and can you see that on your screen? So this is the website, bactraining.com.
Yeah.
Training.com.
Yes, they can just click on that.
So you have some minimum qualifications. You have to be 18 years old. So our audience today is some high school, probably juniors, seniors, maybe even a little younger. Can you apply when you're younger than 18? Can you apply when you're 17?
You can, but you won't be able to actually go through the process until you actually turn 18.
Okay.
And one of the other things too is they have to have a valid driver's license too. So
why is that important?
Well, you got to go to and from work. You're not going to work just real close to home. Sometimes you might have to travel just a little bit. Usually their problem will say they're going to be about an hour away from home or less. Or sometimes it's just say like, okay, Maryville slowed down a little bit. You can go to other areas to work. To keep you making some money and keeping your hours going while you're in your apprenticeship program. That's really important to have a driver's license and reliable transportation. That is a key because you got to get to and from work.
And then I see one of the other qualifications is high school diploma or GED. When you look at somebody's transcripts, what kind of information are you trying to extract to find out more about that individual?
What I look at, number one, because this is always a question I'm asked, I look at attendance. That's my first thing I go to. That tells me if he or she is going to school, they're on time. Then my next one is their grades, and what we really, with our trade, is the math. We look at their math scores and what, how they're doing in those subjects. So really the number one key for me, we're actually going to be doing interviews tomorrow here in Maryville. And what I look at is the attendance first. And if they see they had a number of days, and we'll ask them and say, hey, we've seen you miss so many days or late. We'll ask them that question, why?
And that is so important. And it's, I think it's not just for the bricklayers, but all the trades is, the contractor really depends on the trade workers, get the job done and meet the schedule of the project. And if you can't show up to work on time, you're probably never going to make it into the trades. And I think, seeing that attendance record really kind of reflects on who you are as a person. So for those of you out there, make sure you get to school on time because, that does come into play when you get out into the world and, looking for a career. So I'm just kind of going through the application. It seems pretty straightforward. Then you just hit submit. And then, so what's the process after that? say somebody fills out the application, gets all the other conditions such as the letters of recommendation. What's the next step?
What the next step is, we always set like we do a hands-on evaluation. So once we get all the applications, we always set a date up, okay, when we're going to do the hands-on. So whoever submitted an application, the instructor will reach out to them and say, hey, we're going to do this on this day. Like tomorrow, we're going to do the interview part. We always do the interview part first. So whoever submits an application will get an interview and go through the hands-on process. So what the hands-on process is really consist of, the first night they'll come in, it's called a local JATC board. It's made up of union members and contractors. They'll be the ones that's interviewing you and scoring you. I sit in on it, Jeff sits on it, but Jeff and I do not have a vote on that. It's up to the local JATC. So you're coming through an interview, then the next evening what you'll do, we'll have apprentices, and Jeff and myself will be out in the shop. Because a lot of people that come to us don't have any experience, that's fine. We don't have any problem with that. Then our apprentices will actually work with them and demonstrate what we do. We know the basics like spread and mortar for block and brick, then also putting the head joints on block and brick. We will demonstrate it. Then the applicants, they'll be doing it. They're going to get a hands-on feel of what they're actually getting into. So we work with them. Then the JATC board, they're the ones that do the scoring. For the first night, they're going to be scored. Everybody's on a point system. They will get points scored on their interview. Then what we're looking at after we work with them a couple hours in the shop, we're really looking at coordination, how well they take directions and how well they handle the trial and stuff like that. They're scored on that. Then we throw them a simple math and rules test at them. This is a key. So one thing, if somebody's wanting to get in, I would tell them to really touch up on your measurement skills, your math skills. We have a little bit of algebra in there. There's, for percentage and stuff like that, and figure square feet up. So that's kind of the process the hands-on evaluation is after they complete the application. That's what they go through. And like I said, I've done thousands of these, and it comes down to single points. So we really encourage them, like, if I see them tomorrow coming as like if they think they done good well in the interview, I would say, okay, really concentrate on your next two things, because it does come down to single points. When the local JT, they look at the work in the area, they say, I'm just going to throw a number out. Okay, we're going to take the top 10. So what they do, they'll take the highest score. That's number one. They rank it they go down to number 10. So that's kind of the process they go through to get into our program.
And then once you get accepted into the program, do you start school right away, and do you start with that class, or do you have to wait till you get a job first?
Like the classes I was talking about earlier, that's our regular apprentices class that comes 1 day a week. Once they complete the hands-on part and they get accepted into the trade, what we do is it's an 8-week class, a free job class, or some people might call it a boot camp. Is those applicants will come here to our Griffith Training Center. They will be with Jeff for 8 weeks, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 3:30. What we're doing is teaching them the basic skills for them to be productive after 8 weeks to go work for a contractor. In those 8 weeks, Monday through Thursday, we give them $300 a week. We provide all the tools, don't cost them anything. Then after that 8 weeks, they will go out and to work for a contractor and they'll make 50% plus benefits of what a journeyman makes. That's kind of the process, but they have to pass that 8-week class first before they go to the 50% plus benefits.
So during that first 8 weeks, I imagine you're going to be learning how to, mix mortar and layout. Layout's a big key, figuring out how much material is needed on the. There is.
Good point, Kevin. There's a lot of repetition in do this because they're starting out. Probably not. They don't. Most of them that come in, which is fine. We teach them that. Don't know. You're teaching them how to spread mortar. Like you said, the layout. and you're actually building stuff every day. You know, you're laying brick, you're laying block for the line, laying different types of material. You've got classroom time. You know, we spend a lot on the safety part of it too. So when they go on a job site, they kind of know what they're looking for. You know, we teach them OSHA 10 in that 8-week class. So there's a lot that goes on in just 32 days of training. And it's really beneficial for them and the contractors too. That way they've got, you know, the basic fundamentals to go out and do the job.
You mentioned safety, and that's a you know, big in our industry is, you know, making sure everybody goes home with all their fingers and toes every day. What are some of the hazards that bricklayers come into on the job that you know, that you have to mitigate the risks for?
A lot of it too, you know, is like we have, you know, we're wearing gloves and safety glasses. You know, if you're cutting brick or something, you don't want one of those pieces of brick going in your eye. You know, we use mortar and stuff too, different types of chemicals where you wear the gloves to protect your stuff. With silica, you know, as you well know, with the cutting of the bricks now, a lot of different types of safety stuff that we really teach them. You know, the respirator systems too, different stuff like that.
We talked a little bit about pay, and you said you start off at 50% of pay once you get through that 8 weeks of training. There's a lot of other benefits that come along with the trades, and I'd like to know a little bit more about the bricklayers. Do you have some type of health and welfare insurance and some type of retirement system to go along with that?
Yes, they do. And I'll touch a little bit on the apprenticeship pay. They do start out at 50%. And the way that percentages work, it's every 6 months and 750 hours, they get a raise. So there's 8 different periods in our apprenticeship program. So the first year they go from 50 to 55, and the second is 60 to 65. The third year when they see 2 big increases, so they go from 65 to 75, then 75 to 85, and last year they go 90 to 95. And they've had 2 good retirement plans. There's a local pension, and also there's an international pension. And we do have health and welfare insurance. It's very good. I mean, it's very good insurance. So there's a lot of good benefits for the younger ones that are kind of listening to this. That's what you want to look at as them benefits. I'll just tell you, I'm 60 years old. In a few years, I'm going to retire. And I started the trade back in 1978. And in a few years, I'm going to retire. I'm going to benefit from going to work every day. And that's one thing I want to stress is go to work every day. When you get my age, you're going to benefit that from going to work every day.
Yeah, because the more hours that you accumulate throughout the years, the more pension dollars you'll get in your retirement. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yes.
You know, you can't just work, 200 hours every year and expect a big pension. You got to actually put in a lot of work, and I think the formulation is based on how many hours you work throughout your
Right.
year, is it not?
Yes, it is.
What are some of their expectations they have of their employees? What do they want to see? I mean, obviously, we talked about, we need somebody who's punctual and can show up on time, but are there any other like soft skills that you look for?
Yeah, they want somebody that's going to follow directions, and dependability is huge. You've got to be there. You've got to be on time. You've got to communicate with them. Work ethic, they want somebody that's going to be a good work ethic. Someone's got a good attitude. Like I say, showing up, being on time, being punctual is a key in our trade.
Okay, I think we're going to go ahead, and you said you have an apprentice with you today. His name is Douglas Stamper. Is he available to talk?
Yes, he is. I'll get Doug to take my place.
Okay. Doug, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Are you from Northwest Indiana?
Yeah, I'm from the DeMont, Roselawn area.
Okay. So when did you get into the bricklayers?
Shortly after I graduated high school, I was working for a home remodeling company, and they did a lot of aspects of construction from, carpentry, roofing, and they had a subcontracting bricklayer that worked for them. And they started me out laboring with them, and, I really enjoyed the aesthetic value of masonry. It's always on the outside. It covers everything up, and the structural integrity of it. stands forever. I thought that was very interesting, and he took me on full-time to labor, and he started teaching me how to lay brick too.
And then, so how did you transition over into the apprenticeship program?
Well, growing up, I knew a guy, and he was always a bricklayer, and he is in the Bricklayers Union. And when he learned that I was working non-union, he asked me if I'd want to come into the union for a higher pay and way better benefits, and I agreed.
And so, are you you're a second year or a second year right now?
Second year.
And so how's your experience been? You know, going through the training program. Did you learn a lot that you didn't realize? You know, when you were working as a non-union labor out in the field. I mean, it's got to be night and day compared to, you know, what you were doing before compared to now that you're in the union.
Oh yeah, it's a lot different. It's a whole different aspect going from residential to commercial and industrial.
And so, can you talk a little bit about, you know, the application process? Was that intimidating to you when you went into that, or what did you actually do when you went into your? Because I think Roger was saying when you first go in there, you meet with the JATC board and you do like some hands-on. Can you talk a little bit about that process and you know what you did during that time and was it difficult?
I was working at the time, and now they do it all in one day, I believe. At the time, they were doing it in 3. And the JATC board, you'll sit in front of them, and they'll ask you some questions about your background, your ability to work, if you can drive to work. They'll ask you, you know, you obviously have to be a graduate of high school if you've ever worked in masonry. And after that, it was the hands-on, which they'll see your ability to take and follow directions mostly. You know, you could go in there not knowing a thing about masonry and do just as good as someone who has been in it before, just by your ability to take and follow directions by what they say. And there was a math test to get a better understanding of your basic principles of, you know, it's kind of simplified math, measurements and whatnot.
Yeah, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions probably is
Oh yeah, that's a must.
what you really need to know, because I'm sure with layout, you're constantly doing measurements and making sure everything's laid out. I don't think people understand the importance of the layout of you know, laying that first block or brick. But I mean, that's the way you lay it out affects the aesthetic appearance once you're done with the job. So it's crucial.
Oh yeah, it'll be there forever also.
And it's going to be there forever for everybody to look at. So if you lay it wrong, everybody's going to know because it's going to stand out. But so what's your favorite aspect of being in the Bricklayers?
I would say the diversity. You know, you get to come to work every day, and for 1 week you'll be laying brick, the next you'll be laying block and glass block, stone. I enjoy laying stone very much. And there's all kinds of different aspects of each one also, different kinds of brick, different kinds of stone. There's also PCC work, a lot of restoration, and then there's mill work also. There's all kinds of things you can do.
Doug, I got one last question for you before I bring Roger back on. So our audience today is high school, juniors, seniors predominantly. What advice would you give to somebody who's still in high school that is thinking about applying for a trade and specifically the bricklayers?
Well, I would say go for it. If you enjoy being outside and working with your hands, and you know, the satisfaction of bricklaying is second to none. You know, the aesthetic value, it covers everything, you know, it's there forever. And it's a great alternative to a college education, you know, because you still get an education while you're here. And trade-wise, you know, there's all kinds of things you could do with it.
Yeah, as Roger mentioned, you know, once you go through the entire program, because you're partnered with Ivy Tech, you'll get that associate's degree as well. That's also transferable toward a 4-year degree. So a lot of promotional opportunities, you know, once you complete the program to move ahead. So, well, Doug, you taking time to join us today, and I wish you all the best in the future and to your future as a bricklayer. So hopefully we'll see each other sometime in the near future.
Yep.
Thank you. So Roger, you got a sharp young man right there in Doug.
He is.
But so I really don't have too many more questions for you other than is there any last words for of advice for somebody who might be interested in applying for the bricklayers?
Yeah, go to our website. There's a lot of good information on there. If you got a question, my phone number's on there. Please give me a call. Hopefully in this COVID thing, we get this getting closer to getting this under wrap. You guys want to come to our training center sometime, reach out to me. We're glad to have you. Where you can actually see, you can get the concept of what these apprentices are actually doing in class. And maybe, with this, we're getting ready to start a new class. I think it's April 5th for our new applicants. Okay, if you want to come in and actually see what they do, or you can, reach out to us. If, school gets back in session and you guys want to do a field trip with us, let us know. We can get you set up in the shop, kind of give you the hands-on feel of what we do. And maybe, if you're looking to get into the bricklayers, we can show you some things that, you can work on while you're in high school. Right now, really look at your math, the measurement skills. That's a must. And just, listen to your teachers and your parents, is like, hey, you can make a very good career out of this. Like I said, I'm on my 42nd year. I love what I do and I'm passionate about it. And it's time for the younger generation to take this over. And so no, Kevin, appreciate you having me. And like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be glad to answer any question anyone has.
Roger, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And as you can see from our closing screen, I got all the information on there. So for more information, go to bac4training.com. There's a phone number right here. That'll put you in touch with the bricklayers. And as Roger mentioned, if you want to go out and do a field trip to their school in Maryville to just do a tour, they'd be happy to do that. And always, if you're interested in other trades, we created the We Build Northwest Indiana website. That also has the information for the bricklayers on there, plus a link to their website. And for those of you who need to brush up on their math skills, the Center of Workforce Innovation has adult learning centers that people could utilize to help them brush up and remediate their skills on some of the math out there. So there's a web link here, cwicore.com, or there's a phone number right here. So once again, Roger, thanks again. And thank you to everybody in our audience for joining us today.
Thanks again, Kevin. I appreciate it.